Up to 80% of U.S. troops in Vietnam never fired a weapon. An infantryman could survive weeks as human bait, only to return to base and hear a clerk complain about a broken ice cream machine. There was no single Vietnam experience. The war was starkly divided between the boonies and the rear. For the infantry, or grunts, the defining features were prolonged physical misery and psychological tension. The U.S. tactical doctrine of search and destroy sent them humping through thick jungle carrying 60 to 80 pounds of gear until they made contact with a hidden enemy. Grunts endured monsoon rains, leeches, trench foot, and the constant threat of snipers, booby traps, and ambushes. They rarely slept in the same place twice and lived in a state of exhaustion, often going weeks without a hot meal or a shower. Special operations forces, such as MACV-SOG, Navy SEALs, and long-range reconnaissance patrols, LRRPs, faced a different kind of extreme danger. Operating in small teams of just a half-dozen men, they routinely crossed borders into Laos and Cambodia or penetrated deep into the Mekong Delta. Rather than participating in massive battalion-level sweeps, these units relied on extreme stealth to gather intelligence or ambush supply lines. The casualty rates for some elite units approached 100%, but they enjoyed immense tactical autonomy, worked closely with indigenous allies like the Montagnards, and largely escaped the rigid discipline imposed on regular line units. Aviation crews experienced the war as a series of intense adrenaline-fueled spikes of terror interspersed with relative comfort. Helicopter pilots flying Hueys or Cobras routinely dropped into hot landing zones under heavy enemy fire to insert troops or evacuate the wounded. Yet, unlike the infantry who remained in the mud, a dust-off crew could fly multiple harrowing combat missions in an afternoon and be back at a major base eating a hot steak and drinking a cold beer by sunset. Known derisively by the infantry as REMFs, rear echelon motherfuckers, the majority of support troops worked as clerks, mechanics, cooks, and supply personnel. Stationed at massive logistical hubs like Long Bin, Da Nang, or Cam Ranh Bay, their war featured air-conditioned hooches, swimming pools, USO shows, and base clubs. While occasionally subjected to mortar or rocket attacks, their daily routine resembled a stateside military deployment. This immense disparity created deep resentment between the front lines and the rear, highlighting how two men in the same country could experience entirely different wars.